Hey, it's James. Welcome back to the channel. And today what I want to do is talk about how to meet and network with millionaires. Now, the concept of a millionaire in today's society can seem like this big esoteric idea that isn't a real life thing. But if you look up the statistics and numbers of millionaires who are in your country, even in your city alone, you would be shocked how many there are. There are more out there, even in your suburb, even in your state, than you even realize are out there. And so meeting these kinds of people and listening to them and learning from them and seeing how they got to where they are today, and most importantly, how you can apply that to you and your business and your journey, it is invaluable. And a lot of people think that you can't just meet these people, right? Obviously, there are strategies, there are ways to do so, and the ways to actually conduct yourself when you're talking to them. And I want to talk about that in this video because I've met countless millionaires, I've learned from countless millionaires, and there are two very unique strategies I've used to go out there and meet them that I think you will find valuable as well. So strap yourself in, take some notes, and let's dive in. The first thing comes down to a principle, which is that rich people know other rich people. It really is as simple as that. And so if you know one, probably meet more. And so one of the best ways for you to go ahead and meet rich people, if you don't know any personally, is to pay to get into the room. And so the very first thing that I ever did was pay for coaches. Now, I didn't just pay the coaches just to know who their friends are. I obviously paid to join their program and learn the skills. And obviously that can change your life in itself. But by paying a coach to get into their world and work with them closely, I was learning from them, taking action with them, communicating with them. And because it's one of those students, actually does the work, as you should be as well if you ever hire a coach, garners a bit of respect. In the same way that any of my Ecom Boss members who I see really putting in the work and they're pushing and they're using the coaching, like I take notice and I talk to them and I communicate with them and I let them know that I'm proud of them and we have conversations, and when we meet, like we spend time together. And whenever I was working with coaches, I was always trying to make sure that I stood out from the pack a little bit so that we could have a bit more of a relationship than just a here's the logins, see you later. And so the first couple of coaches that I worked with, it's exactly what I did. I worked really, really hard, obviously got results. And so they were proud of me and great marketing material because I was getting great results of their program. But we started to become friends. And that meant I would get invited to a bar where they're hanging out. I might get invited to a dinner that they're holding with some of their friends. What kind of friends do you think they have? Well, successful people as well. I started to see this happen to the point where I was traveling to different masterminds around the world and I would get invited to hang out afterwards, hang out for dinner, hang out and meet people that had $100 million net worths. It all can happen very, very quickly because I paid to be in the room. I paid to get a little bit of respect by putting myself in front of them and letting them see that I'm a hard worker. And then suddenly I'm a part of their circle. And now I get invited oftentimes to dinners and evenings and outings where you quite literally forget that the people around you at the table, if you added up everyone's net worth, it would be in the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. It can happen very quickly, but you don't get at that table just by stumbling across them in the street or meeting them at the bar. While that could happen, best way in my experience to do that is quite frankly, just to get in contact with people who know more people like them. And so for me, that was my first couple of coaches. And so if you're working with a coach and you can be in proximity, make that relationship. Speak with your coach. Let them know how hard you're working. And when you're with them in person at an event or a mastermind, really take an interest in them because that will lead to them taking interest in you. And the number two way for you to go out there and meet millionaires, quite frankly, is building a personal brand. We're in a day and age now where building a personal brand, creating content for Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, even though for a lot of people it can be scary. In fact, the number one most common fear for people around the world isn't a fear of dying, it's a fear of public speaking, which is quite funny, but it makes sense. But if you're building a personal brand, if you can get past the fear up front, you get your first couple of videos out, you hate the way you sound on camera, which is normal for all of us. Once you start to get that going and you start to get a little bit of traction, just having a personal brand makes you more important in the eyes of people who are in business, who are successful. Because we live in a day and age now where your social media is pretty much like your business card, like your parents would have handed out 20 years ago. So a business card previously, someone said they'd like to talk to you, like to connect, like give you a card. You can give them the card and then, you see in American Psycho, the quality of the stock and how good the font is and how shiny it is, right? Maybe you're worth a bit more than the average person. But nowadays, it's not about the business card or what company you represent or what company you work for. Your social media and the things you talk about and the way you position yourself and the way you portray yourself on social media is a reflection of you. And so when somebody is successful, when they find you on social media and they see that you're working hard, you're pushing, you're making content, you're sharing your ideologies and you're helping people and you're just documenting your journey, even if you're not wanting to be a coach, you're not wanting to be a public speaker, maybe you're building an e-commerce business like one of my clients, or an Ecom Boss Mentoring. There is so much value in just creating an Instagram account and going, hey, I just want to document the journey. Hey, it's day 3 of me building an e-commerce business. Here's what I worked on today. This. Hey, it's day 4 of me building an e-commerce business. Here's what I worked on. This. You'll start to get views. You'll start to get traction, and people will start to take notice. And I'm the kind of person who starts to see that content. I see countless people each and every day pushing on social media, and it garners respect. And as that starts to grow, you start to meet people, you start to get DMs and connections and invited to events and invited to networking things. It's all a big flywheel. So if you're not already building a personal brand, do it, because it is one of the easiest ways for you to be taken seriously by other people who have personal brands who are also successful online. And as a side note as well, it also works for people who are offline. When they see you pushing on social media, doing things that maybe in their industry they don't do. Maybe you're talking to somebody who is an offline millionaire, who has done really well in brick and mortar or in different industries. They may not know a lot about social media. And so they see you and they realize, oh, you've got something to teach me. You know stuff that I don't. And they can start to take an interest in you as well. So it's not just the people who are living online, it's also the people who are successful out there in the real world who can take a lot of interest in what you're doing as well. Now, those are 2 ways for you to go out there and meet millionaires and start to get the attention of millionaires. But what's the number 1 tip for when you actually get a chance to speak with them? And with people who have asked me, how do I conduct myself and handle myself with people who are successful, who are high net worth? The number 1 rule outside of all the generic stuff, dress nice, don't smell like crap, make sure you look presentable, right? The biggest thing is don't talk to them about money or business or anything along those lines unless they bring it up first. You see, the biggest thing is that when I meet people, for example, and I'm not some $100 million CEO, but when somebody meets me and the very first thing they want to talk about is e-commerce or social media marketing or sales or branding or usually, even though I love talking about this stuff, it's like, right? We enjoy being normal people just like you do. And so when you're meeting somebody who's successful, don't talk about business unless they bring it up. Talk about life. Make a joke. Make an observation about something they're wearing. Ask about their hobbies. Ask about their partner. Build a bit of a vibe around the table about anything outside of business. Then if they bring it up, of course, be a part of that conversation. Don't try to sound too important, but then start to ask about them. What do they do? What kind of business do they do? What kind of tips do they have for somebody who's getting started? Once they've brought it up, totally fine. And you should find out more about what it is they're doing. Take a vested interest. Don't try to rip as much value out of them in the first 5 minutes, but you can always ask a couple of things like, hey, listen, here's what I'm doing. What kind of things would you recommend? And they'll be happy to give you advice. But the big mistake people make is they go straight for the throat. What kind of things can I ask them about business right off the rip? And all it does is it just separates the conversation immediately, because everybody is the same. We're all human beings. And so if somebody came up to you and met you for the first time and the very first thing they did was ask you about your job, right? Would you really be that interested in talking to them? No, you wouldn't. You want to be talking about you're a human being. You want to make some jokes. You want to have a good time. And obviously the rest, you can go wherever you want with the conversation. But that's when it comes to how to meet millionaires. And that's also what to do when it comes to talking with millionaires. Don't bring up business before they do. Once they do, free reign, have fun. Now, I'm sure you got a ton of questions. I've only got a short amount of time here. I can go on for an hour plus. But if you have any questions deeper on this topic, please drop them in the comment section below. I'm here giving you advice each and every day. So whatever you need, please let me know. Any questions, you want to go deeper on some thing that I mentioned on this video, please let me know. But I hope that was valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.